that feel they almost have a relationship with us in a way that they're using our product, but then they're interacting with us directly. We're taking care of them. We're interacting with them not only, if they call in, but through social and through our podcast. And it's really just that direct connection. It's more than just direct sales. It's kind of a direct connection that I think it's something that's much different for us, where I would say if you asked our average customer, they'd probably say that in a way that they feel a connection with us beyond just a sale or beyond a business, which I think is a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm. How pissed is a customer when something fails and they're out on a hunt? I only asked that
because we don't. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say I only asked that because I was on a backcountry snowshoeing expedition, and my really, really expensive shoes failed big time, and I was pissed. And it was one of those big companies, and fortunately I sent them in. They sent me some new pair of boots and everything, but I was like, wow, that almost ruined my whole trip.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully that's something we haven't had to deal with extensively, but in the couple of cases where something like that's happened, I mean, I think it goes back to us being small of, Steve and I have literally lost sleep when something happens and there's some sort of issue. We're not just a big company, and that customer isn't just an order. Like, we feel that at a very personal level of like, oh no, like there's some sort of bad experience for some reason. And, we not only take ownership of that, but in a way, because we are hunters just like they are. We are in situations just like they are. We understand what they're going through. Like, we, empathize with them in a way that's probably, very genuine.
Yeah, I'll add to what Mark said there. Like, one of my struggles over the years was when something did bad happen at work, it was taking that home and letting it go. I would just be in a grumpy mood, or I'd be thinking about it all night long and drive my wife nuts, because I couldn't come home and just relax and enjoy things, which I'm sure is the case with a lot of people's jobs. But it hits on a very, very personal level when we do have issues. So we really work hard to make sure that those don't happen. In reality of business and life, that mistakes happen, and whenever they do, we try to be upfront and address them head on. But it's definitely not a fun part of it, that's for sure.
So you made the decision to have a lifetime warranty on these things, and like you said, hunters are out there beating the heck out of these things. Plus, you've got weaponry of all sorts. You've got antlers and all these things that are hanging off these backpacks and personal gear. Has that been a challenge to meet that goal, or have you guys seen a lot of durability in your packs?
Yeah, it hasn't been too much of a challenge, really at all. That it's definitely the lifetime warranty for USA-made product in the hunting thing is pretty standard, and so that that's kind of like what you have to do if you want to compete with everybody, and so that the struggle isn't so much. Our warranties are very, very small. A zipper fails here or there. That's just out of our control. But it's really a minor thing. So our struggle is designing the pack up front to be lightweight and balancing that lifetime warranty. Mm-hmm. So we basically have to start with it. This has to last, and to me, I consider lifetime, depending on the user, for probably 5 to 10 years of heavy use. After 10 years of heavy use, there's unless it was a 20-pound pack, it's not going to last forever. But the struggle is to get this thing as light as possible, because weight really does matter on these backcountry hunts. But have the product last for that duration. So.
I know Kyle, my neighbor here on the line, he's been saving cans and to recycle to save up enough money to buy one of these packs. He had a question for you.
Well, I've had a couple like industry leading packs not work well for me. I mean, they either don't fit right, or they make noise, or they fall apart after you're taking something out of the woods. What makes your guys' packs the best on the market? Because I mean, everybody's using these things, and they clearly work the best. So, in your opinion, what makes EXO Mountain Gear the best product on the market?
as Mark kind of said, we use our products, right? We are designing these for our standard. And we operate EXO. It's an exceptionally lean company and efficient, and it allows us to pour a lot of our time and resources into prototyping and development. So to give you an example, our K3 pack that we just launched, I had no budget in mind, no timeline in mind when I set out to design it. It was purely, I'm going to design until this thing is basically ready to go and is a legitimate improvement over our older K2 pack. So, and our K2 pack was getting great reviews, was performing exceptionally well. And so that kind of allowed me the freedom to design and prototype until I had something that I truly felt was better in all areas across the board. And how that's different is most companies, not all, but most, they basically have a budget. Say if I was, REI and I wanted to design a backpack, basically they're going to say, we got X amount of dollars. We need to have the product launched and done by this date. Let's hire a designer. And the designer's going to, price out the project. And basically they have those constraints of money and time that they have to work with. And sometimes they hit a home run, and sometimes they rush something through and you run into a pack that squeaks, right? Because they didn't thoroughly test that, or they run into issues down the road, or they design the pack and it functions really well in one area but not in another because they didn't actually ever test that other area. They just kind of assumed, right? So that was in my prototyping from the K2 to K3 that I did plenty of versions that performed better at certain spots, but then I would go and test it again under a different load, different situation condition, and the K2 outperformed it. So that was just it is unique in how that's done versus other companies that, again, just hire a designer and they have constraints. They have to get the product to market. They're not willing to throw it out the window, right? If 6 months down the road when they're ready to start manufacturing, it's not performing, very few companies are just going to throw that project out the window. They're going to produce it and hope it goes well. So,
you raise a very interesting topic for people that are creating retail brands, because you're absolutely right. And this is across the board, not just in backpacks, but across the boards with retail. They got the seasonality of their colors for the season, and like you said, you got these designers with the budget, and they've got to knock it out in X amount of time. As a business person running your business, how do you make that decision to extend that period of time, research, and dollars to come up with the absolute best, and how do you justify that? Because how many packs are you going to have to sell to justify that time? Because I think if we can answer that, people might be encouraged to create better products and put a little bit more time and effort into it.
Yeah, for us, it's easy. Mark and I whenever we come to decisions, they basically boil down to A, we have to take care of the product, and B, we have to take care of the customer. Those are everything else boils down to those two decisions. Is this good for the product? Is this good for the customer? And so that's when putting time and effort into designing our product is our company. If our, it doesn't matter how great our customer service is, if our pack doesn't perform out there in the field, it doesn't matter. Guys are going to get it like, oh, you got great service, but your pack is horrible when I put 100 pounds in it. So that makes it very easy for me to justify spending a vast majority of my time on prototyping and design, because it is the most important aspect of our company.
Mm-hmm.
And to go with that, it's taking care of the product and the customer with a longer term vision too, right? Because we're not, being an independent company, we're not answering to investors or outside influences or have to turn, some sort of sales report for this quarter. We're just thinking through what decisions can we make now that set us up for success for the long term. And so, like you were saying, with seasonality, with colors, we don't run into any of that. We're designing packs to last. We're designing our company and our operations to last and to be there for the long haul, versus just going, what can we do for Q1 right now?
Yeah. And then I'll add as well, just we have specifically kept our product line very, very narrow so that we can put all of our focus into it. There's been numerous products that I know that we could design, sell a lot of, but at the same time is a resource that's limited. And if I'm spending time designing, a binocular harness, I'm not spending time working on the next generation of our backpack. And so that's something that we've made a very conscious decision to is let's do one thing and do that one thing very, very well.
So is that to say that the future of your company is really just to remain focused on backpacks and you're not looking to expand into the other items?
Yeah, I would say as a general statement, absolutely. Until I get to the point that I feel we've achieved everything that could be achieved in a backpack, then I imagine at that point I would probably branch out. Okay, what can I do next? And we've played with, I have spent some time over the years when, I was in between designing, working on a tent and things like that, frankly, they all come back to, I don't have the time to absolutely perfect it. So I get some ideas, we sell a prototype and kind of abandon the project pretty quickly. But yeah, I think, said over time, if I get everything dialed in, and I don't feel like there's more evolvement to happen inside of the pack, then we may branch out. But I don't see that happening. I'm already working on our next version of the frame, which we don't plan to release for a couple of years. But I'm pretty actively hiking with, I haven't hiked with a stock K3 pack since last year. Everything's just testing and prototyping for the future. So.
I have a lot of respect for a company that's vision is, focused solely on making the best of something. A lot of people listening to the show have a background with In-N-Out Burger, which only makes hamburgers. People always encourage them to add more items to their menu, and they never did because that's what they did the best. And, their reputation is upheld by that. And it seems like you guys run similar philosophies, make the best, offer the service, offer the guarantees, which says a lot about who you are. So I'm looking at the front page of your website. I am not a hunter. My neighbors are encouraging me to become a hunter, and I've purchased my first Bowtech the other day, and I'm excited about it. But, somebody that stumbles across your site, I'm looking at this picture, and this guy's got some antlers. He's got his rifle. He's got a full pack. It looks like he's got some meat on there. I mean, how do you even know where things go? And do you have a tutorial on how to set this thing up and what fits in it and what's the best rifle and et cetera? Or is it kind of this pack meets your needs because it's X amount of size and holds so much weight?
Yeah, we definitely, that's actually something we consciously do in the design. A design motto is simple and efficient. It's very, very easy for a designer to overcomplicate things. We try to keep things very, just very simple, very efficient, easy to use, easy to understand. We don't want to have a 1-inch thick manual that comes with the pack on how to operate the thing. It should be, if you can't just clearly look at it and go, okay, that's how that operates, then I haven't done my job very well. That's how we look at it. So everything's pretty laid out. Obviously guys buying our product have experience in this already for the most part. They're already hunters. They're already, maybe they don't backpack, but they want to get into backpacking. So they've been hunting their whole life and then they get that. So it's pretty well laid out and understand. And then we do, along those lines, it's why we love being a direct to consumer company is we can educate them. Our customers, once you purchase something from us, you get a series of emails and tutorials on how to do this and tips and tricks and stuff like that. So that we're not just throwing the product out to you and leaving you to hang to dry, right? Of trying to figure it out on your own.
Yeah, I noticed you have a nice blog on your website, and I'm glad you brought that up because I've purchased a lot of different types of gear throughout my life. I've been an avid surfer most of my life, and I remember buying that backpack. I don't remember who made it, but it had a wet and a dry area. I thought, well, that's genius because I pull my wetsuit off and it's wet, and I got a backpack out of Trestles, which is a 2-mile hike, I can put my wetsuit in the wet area, you know? So it's little things like that I'm always impressed with designers. But at the same time, I've received backpacks